is the Steve Freeman Podcast.
Steve is legit! Exclamation point. Love this podcast! Exclamation point. Thanks, Bong Grip, for leaving that review. Also, the title of his review was No BS, and that is exactly right. He rated us 5 stars, left that written review on Apple Podcast. If you would like to have your review featured on an upcoming episode of the podcast, all you got to do is leave one. So head over to Apple Podcast, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Any links that I talk about today, you will be able to find in the show notes of the podcast, no matter where you're listening, or in the description on YouTube for those of you, few of you that are watching on YouTube. I swear to God, I keep questioning whether or not to even do the video episodes. I do, and then we keep going, and we'll probably keep doing them anyway. If you would like to leave a voicemail and ask me a question, have your voicemail featured on the podcast, and then I'll answer it, you can do that. Go to thestevefreeman.com. Middle of the page, right-hand side, there's a little button. It says, leave me a voicemail. Click that button and leave a voicemail. Don't forget, follow me everywhere on social media, at The Steve Freeman. We would love to have you as a member of the new Facebook podcast group. The Steve Freeman Podcast Facebook group, I guess, is technically how you're supposed to say that. Links in the description or in the show notes. Also, if you would like to be in the next round for the Music Business Mindset Mentorship Program, you might want to get in early. We got the first 5. We're about a little over, more than halfway through with the first 5 people. It's been a blast. They are moving forward at a rapid speed, releasing music videos. It's been super cool. So if you want to be considered for the next round of 5 in the Music Business Mindset Mentorship Program, where you work one-on-one with me directly, I'm talking, you can text me all the time. You can give me phone calls. You can send emails. You're working with me one-on-one over the next 90 days. If you want to do something like that, go to thestevefreeman.com and you can click the little button right there in the header and it will have you all set to go. All right. Now that the business is out of the way, which is a lot of business, but it's out of the way now. I hear from you guys a lot about getting and staying motivated. And I think for a lot of people that can mean creative. It can mean a lot of different things, but some of you battle getting and staying in that motivation mindset. So today, I want to give you 5 ways to get you and keep you motivated. I'm going to jump right in. Number 1, always act with purpose. Now, I wrote some of this down because I find it very interesting, very helpful. I want to read it like this, and then we'll kind of discuss it. But 1, always act with a purpose. If you don't know why you're doing something, you're making that part of your life utterly meaningless. How important is that? If you don't know why you're doing something, stop doing it. Because if you string enough meaningless acts in your life together, then you're going to put together basically a pointless life. Okay, if you want to get motivated and then stay motivated, act with purpose. Have a reason why you're doing something. How many times have we talked about goals? And that really the smart people, they have an end goal, but they're fluid in the journey. That goal may move from time to time. It may, as you experience things, as you get further along in your journey, you're going to become educated. You're going to learn things that you didn't know before. And what's important in that process is as you learn those things, you go, wait a minute. This is not actually taking me to the goal that I thought I had. Maybe I need to take the goal and move the goal just a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of us get so like horses with blinders on that we set this thing out there, and that's got to be it. That is the goal. That's what it looks like. That's its description, and it can't look like success or goal achievement under any other circumstances than this right here. That is the wrong. You'll never achieve it that way, ever. I've told you guys many times, when I've looked at a mountain and I saw the top of the mountain and I got there, all I did was saw the top of another mountain that mountain was hiding from down where I was. Be fluid with your goals, but act with purpose. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? If you can't sit down and legitimately write down at least 5 reasons why you're doing something, and by the way, those 5 reasons have to be something different. I actually had a client of mine do this. And what he wrote down 5 things, But basically, all 5 things were the same thing. They were just worded differently. And I looked at them. I'm like, no, I said 5 different reasons why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you doing it? Give me 5 individual, different, completely separate reasons. And when he gave them to me, they were basically all 5 were the same thing. If you can't write down 5 unique reasons why you're doing what you're doing or why you've set the goal out there that you've set, then you've got the wrong goal and you're doing the wrong thing. Because if you don't know what you're doing and you can't act with purpose, you're never going to get there. It's just never going to happen. You're going to wander all over. You're going to take wrong door, wrong exit after wrong exit and wrong door because you have no idea what you're doing. You don't know where you're going. You've not put that end destination in your GPS and allowed yourself to have different waypoints. None of us are going to achieve success or our goals in a straight line. It's impossible. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things you don't understand. And you're going to, a lot of times, take 3 steps forward and 4 or 5 steps back. And you're going to do it more prominently and more often if you're not acting with purpose. Know what you're doing. Come up with that list for yourself. What are these 5 unique reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing? And if you can't answer those things, you don't have those 5 things, then you're doing the wrong thing. Number 2, take responsibility for your own results. Most people misinterpret this concept. They think it means taking the credit when things go well and taking the blame when things go wrong. But taking responsibility is not about blame or credit. It's about what you do next. If you're responsible for your own results, take ownership of whatever future that emerges from those results. You continue to move forward towards your goals, even when you encounter setbacks. I see this one a lot. I see a lot of people when they hit their first objection, they shut down completely or question the goal. If you are doing number 1 properly and you are acting with action and you are acting with purpose and on purpose, you are going to have the setbacks. You're going to have the roadblocks, but you've got to keep going. It's never, how many times have I said this? It's never about what you're doing right now. It's not about the product you're selling right now. It's not about the song you're releasing this Friday. It's not about the new music video coming out next week. It's about what are you doing after this? What you're doing right now is a stepping stone. What you're doing right now is mile 1 of a 1,000-mile journey. Don't just stop and think when you're in this first mile and you get tired or you get dehydrated or you hit a roadblock or something happens. Don't question the next 999 miles. Keep going. Take responsibility for your own results. You're going to face difficulties. You're going to fail. Don't look at your first failure, second failure, third failure, or 900th failure as a reason to tell you or meaning that you're not headed in the right direction. I've said it before, every failure, the biggest failures I've had have led to my largest successes. There's no other way I can say that. Look forward to failing. Hope that you fail. Pray that you fail often. Because failing shows you where you need to go. Take responsibility for your own actions. Number 3, don't wait for perfection. Just do it now. Do it today. Perfectionists are the biggest losers in life. Honest to God. I can look around and I can see people that I know that are perfectionists, and they lose at every single thing they do because they either expect things to be perfect before they take an action, before they get involved, or before they do things. And then when it doesn't turn out that way, they can't enjoy whatever happens because it's not perfect. We see this. I see this a lot in the film business, in the movie business. A lot of people want to sit around and plan and strategize and talk. We want to have meetings to schedule the next meeting because we want everything to be just right. We all think that if we plan enough and we do everything right up front, that we're going to limit objections, we're going to limit failures, and we can get those things out of our path and out of our road so that it's nice and clear and smooth sailing. What I often find is most people that do that never actually take off on the journey. They never leave the starting line because they've tried in their mind mentally to go through and make sure that they're not going to have any problems whatsoever, that it's a perfect situation all the way through. How many of you ever have started something with an end goal in mind and just had it smooth sailing all the way through? Never. Absolutely never. It's never happened. It won't ever happen because we forget always in our plans to interject real life. We forget that no matter how good the plan is and how sound the plan is in our mind, and even as we type it out on paper, and even as we talk about it with other people, it sounds flawless. It sounds foolproof. But the one thing we forgot to take into account, we add 25% on top of everything for budget. In case, you know what? Something happens, we've got it covered. We added 25% to our budget. We're good. What we forget to interject is life. And life happens to every single one of us every single day. I had it happen yesterday. I had a plan. This is how this is going to go. This is how this is going to work. This is going to go great. And in 5 minutes, my plan was shit because I didn't account for what was about to come in my atmosphere. We have no idea the debris that's going to be thrown at us. Have you ever driven down a road in West Texas? I'm talking like deep, severe West Texas. Get some coffee. If you have, then you know what I'm talking about. I'll never forget. This is 25 years ago. I had just bought my wife a brand new BMW. This thing was beautiful. It was the M model. It was red, black leather interior. It was beautiful. It was awesome. And I'm like, hey, we're going to go out and visit her family in New Mexico. We drove out there. Again, planning in my head. We great stereo system. We're going to listen to music. We're going to have fun. The windows are tinted. This thing looks fucking awesome. We're going to have a nice, comfortable ride all the way out to New Mexico and back. We left and we went out there and we took one way out there and it was smooth. It was great. Everything was perfect. Then we decided, okay, it's time to come home. We're going to go a different way because we've never been this way before. And I did all the appropriate planning. I looked up at that time, there were no GPSs. So we had looked at the map. We knew where we needed to go. We were all set to go. And then we got to West Texas, something I didn't know about. And we're driving. All of a sudden, the wind kicks up. And there are these big, huge, what are those fucking thing called? I don't even remember what they're called. But the big brush piles and shit rolling across the freeway and hitting the car and scratching the car. It wasn't because I didn't plan. It's because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know that those things were going to come along at the exact time we were coming through West Texas and we're going to hit the car and scratch the car. But you can associate that analogy to any plan that you have. Tumbleweeds, that's what they are. Thank you. That's the imaginary Rick, the producer in the other room. Tumbleweeds. We don't know where the tumbleweeds are going to come from, when they're going to come, and how hard they're going to hit us. We have no way of knowing. Stop worrying about being a perfectionist because, again, perfectionists are the biggest losers because they never start anything. They never finish for sure, but they never start because nothing in your life is ever going to be that perfect. The real joy of achievement doesn't come from what you achieve, but from your efforts in trying to achieve it. How many times have we said that? The only thing that's perfect in this world is that you're perfectly free to take an action. So right now, take action. That's the only perfect scenario is that you can start. You can make the decision that in 5 minutes from now, I'm going to do this. Or matter of fact, in the next 3 seconds, I'm going to do this. Much beyond that, you're going to get hit with tumbleweeds. So if you feel like not making the journey because there's tumbleweeds out there, you need to find something else to do. You're one of these people that needs to have a regular job and go clock in somewhere. And then there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. I mean, it sounds like horror to me. I'd rather be a real life player in the movie Saw than have a regular job. Nothing against it. I'm going to get hammered for that one. Nothing against anybody that does. But for me, it's hell on earth. I couldn't do it after not having one for 30 years. But some people just, maybe that's where they should be. Number 4, and this is one I'm trying to do better about. I really am. I'm trying to do better. I am slimming down a little bit. Eat wisely because success takes energy. And I know this firsthand because I work from 7 o'clock in the morning till about 10:30 at night every night. Now, I will be in here. I'll either be doing podcast, or I'll be over in the studio, or I'll be out on location somewhere, or I'll be traveling for work. I'm doing meetings. But even at about 6 o'clock, when I go and I sit down in my chair and I turn the TV on, I have a routine. Sit in my chair, turn the TV on, open my laptop. That's how it goes. So from 6 to 10, 10:30, sometimes 11, sometimes later, the TV's on, but I'm working. And in order for you to do that, you've got to have the energy. Our civilization currently suffers from a self-indulged plague of obesity caused by the mass consumption of addictive food products that give people life-shortening diseases after first making them listless and drained. I'm not saying you don't eat the occasional donut. However, if you want the energy to act, the energy to achieve your goals, you need to give your body the kind of fuel that can create energy, and it's not just refined sugar that makes you feel like crap. The sugar rushes and the crashes are real, totally real. I've given up almost all sugar that I can. Even in my coffee, the creamer that I use is sugarless. I try not to eat a lot of that because, man, it gives you that burst right up front. But then all of a sudden, there's that crash. And I don't like the crash. I don't like the crash at all. I don't really eat fast food anymore. And when I mean that, well, here's the thing. If you consider like Jimmy John's or Which or Jersey Mike's, we eat those a lot. But I'm talking like McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, Wendy's. I don't eat any of that and haven't for a very, 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 matter of fact, I do actually remember the last time that I ate McDonald's and I ate a Big Mac. And even then I was trying not to, and I hadn't in a while, but somebody brought it to me. I was very hungry and somebody brought it to me. So it was like, it was either eat that or not eat anything. And I was starving. And I remember eating it. And then I also remember about an hour after I ate it, I felt probably one of the worst times I've ever felt in my entire life. I literally felt like somebody took me and dropped me off of a skyscraper and I hit the pavement. And I'm like, wow. You know, I used to eat a lot of that stuff, even the McDonald's breakfast and Big Macs and Quarter Pounders. Oh my God, I used to love Quarter Pounder with cheese, large fry, large Dr. Pepper. I mean, I loved it. Wendy's. Oh my God, the Wendy's double cheeseburger used to be the best thing on the planet. Their fries too. And then they changed the fries. Then they changed the bun. They changed the meat. One of the reasons I stopped eating it because it's not what I used to like. But man, that stuff is good. And it tastes so great and it makes you feel so good for about 30 minutes. And then you crash. And the sugar is the same thing. They are an advertiser here on the podcast, but I tell people every opportunity that I get, even off the podcast, about Performance Inspired, because it's plant-based, it's all natural, and I feel great all day long. I don't need the sugar. I don't need the other. I'm putting good stuff in my body that gives me natural energy. In order for you to accomplish all these things you want to accomplish, in order for you to have the mental strength and the physical strength and the agility that it takes to achieve your goals and see them all the way through, you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready mentally. You've got to be ready physically. You need the strength mentally and the strength physically. It's very important. So eat wisely. When you eat right, you have the energy that it takes to see this thing all the way through. Very, very important. I'm not there yet. We bought the Peloton, My wife has done great. I mean, she started using that thing the day we bought it. She lost weight. We've got the treadmill. I mean, we've got all the things. We live in a place that's got a 3-level gym that's absolutely phenomenal. I've never stepped foot in it, but I've seen it through the glass windows. It looks awesome. It looks amazing. I've just never been in there. But exercise is another one. And that's something I've got to start doing. I've got to start exercising more, getting my heart rate up. I've got to do that. I don't think a lot of us take that into account, that we plan all of this stuff mentally, and we count on our ability as creatives or being a specialist in what it is that we're doing and a specialist in achieving that goal that we've set out there. We think about all these other parameters, but we don't think about our physical bodies. We don't think about physically, how are we going to get there? What if you can't drive there? What if you can't find the fast lane there? What if you literally have to walk this journey? Do you have the stamina? I can't fucking say the word. Stamina to walk the distance. Can you do that? Right now, I don't know if I could, but I'm trying to get there. So eat wisely. It is a very important part of your mental health as well as your physical health. Number 5, surround yourself with motivated people. Numerous scientific studies have shown that people around you influence your behavior. They define what you consider normal and thereby either bring you up or down to their level. If you hang around people who are energized, purposeful, and committed to making a difference in the world, that's what you'll consider normal. Being motivated will stop being something that you do and instead becomes who you are. How important is that? I've talked many times about the rule of thirds as it relates to your career. And if you're just joining the podcast, you haven't listened to the previous 3,455 episodes, I'll run through it real quick. But here's the power of thirds. What you want to do is you want to spend a third of your time with people that are below your level, that are on their way up. You want to spend another third of your time with people that are at the same level that you're at, that are trying to achieve the same goals, that are trying to move forward. The people that are right there where you are. Then you want to try to spend a third of your time with people who have achieved the things that you want to achieve. The people who have been to the mountaintop, the people who know all of the little ways and the little means, the successful people. When you think in your mind, I'm trying to accomplish this, you want to spend at least a third of your time with people who have accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. It's the rule of thirds. And I've done that all throughout my career, whether it's been the podcast, whether it's been songwriting, whether it's been producing, whether it's been as an entrepreneur in different investments and businesses that I've made. I always find the most successful people, and those are the people that I try to spend at least a minimum of a third of my time with, because it rubs off. Exactly what this thing is saying right here. You will become a product of your environment. If you are hanging out with too many people that are on your level, you're going to stay on that level. If you're hanging out with too many people or in your circle, we talked about this not long ago about your circle and toxic people. We've covered this before, but it's important. Again, we're talking about getting motivated, keeping motivated. You've got to be around people who are doing what you want to do. That becomes your normal. I love the statement at the end of this that says being motivated will stop being something that you do and instead become who you are. You will reflect your surroundings. So if you're one of these people that is sitting around and you can see that consistently you're not reaching your goals, look at your circle. I would bet that you're not surrounding yourself with motivated people. I would think that you're probably surrounding yourself with people that are in the same rut or the same hole that you're in. Make it your normal. Make being motivated your normal. And you do that by your surroundings, by your environment. So make sure that you surround yourself with motivated people. Let's run back over these 5 again. Number 1, always act with a purpose. I think that's so self-explanatory, and it's such a great thing. If you don't know what you're doing, stop doing it. If you don't know why you're doing it, stop doing it. Number 2, take responsibility for your own results. Take ownership of whatever future that emerges from those results. Take responsibility. Number 3, don't wait for perfection, just do it. Nike that bitch. Just do it. There will never be a perfect set of circumstances. There will never be an all clear road, an all clear ahead. You'll never get it. There will be tumbleweeds everywhere, and you won't know when they're coming. Don't wait for the perfect set of circumstances. Just get started. Number 4, eat wisely because success takes energy. So true. Make sure you are mentally and physically prepared to take on the journey that you're trying to take on. If you are, it'll help you stay motivated. Number 5, surround yourself with motivated people. Use the law of thirds, but look at your environment. See the people that are around you. What situations are you involving yourself with? Where are those people? Are those motivated, driven, and goal-centric people? Or are those people still trying to figure it out? And if you look at that circle and you realize they're just people that are still trying to figure it out, put those people in 1/3 and go start looking for other people that are motivated. Surround yourself with those people. Change your environment. There you have them. 5 ways to get and stay motivated. Thank you guys for being here for another episode. Don't forget, join us on Facebook with the new Steve Freeman Podcast Facebook group at facebook.com/The Steve Freeman, or you can find a link in the description or the podcast show notes. Follow me everywhere on social media at The Steve Freeman. And if you do, especially on Instagram, send me a DM. Let me know that you followed me so that I can follow you back. If you are interested in being one of the next 5 in the Music Business Mindset Mentorship Program, get in now because it went very fast last time. And I'm not doing the thing like a lot of people do where if 25 people wanted to do it, I only took 5. I'm not going to take the next 5 on that list. I'm making everybody re-up because I want everybody to have an equal chance to do this if you want to do it. You want to work with me one-on-one over the next 90 days? I'm giving you that opportunity. 5, a new class, 5 new people will be starting here in about a month. And if you want to get on that train, go to thestevefreeman.com and check it out. Lastly but not least, don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Share the podcast with friends and family. We're growing. My goal by the end of the year is to be at over 500,000 monthly listeners. We're over 4 now, but we got a long way to go to 500,000, and we can get there with you sharing the podcast. There's a lot of you that are doing that, and I very much appreciate it. But don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. When you review things and you rate them, it goes in a special category within Apple's algorithm, so it helps them shove the podcast out and make it more discoverable to people. So if you'll leave a written review for us, I really appreciate it. Rate us those 5 stars. Until the next episode, guys, keep being creative, keep pressing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. See you in the next one.
The Steve Freeman Podcast. Available now on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else you get your podcasts.